Hi
everyone, this is Whitney here, and I am here with my 16-year-old son. Yeah, he's almost 16. He's not quite 16 yet. And he is going to help me out here. The reason why I have him here is because, as you know, that Tiffany and I are a little more advanced in Photoshop, so we sometimes talk above what you may know. And that's okay. We're all at different levels. So I have him here to keep me in check. So he knows a little bit about Photoshop, but nothing like I do, right, buddy? So if he doesn't understand something, he's going to stop me. He's going to say, whoa, 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 stop. I don't get that. Okay, so we're going to talk about Photoshop and some basics of Photoshop and how it's broken down. So this is a Photoshop 101 class. So if you know anything about Photoshop, skip this video. All right, so here we are in Photoshop. First off, I want to say my Photoshop might look a little bit different from yours, and that's okay. What you probably see are all of your tools and windows here on the left-hand side. I have customized mine, so all of mine on the right-hand side. I am right-handed, so I like my tools and everything on the right-hand side. But if yours are over here, no problem. You can actually just grab them, pull them over, and put them wherever you want. But I'm going to keep mine here. Okay, but what is important, is that you have this layers panel here. And if you don't see the layers panel, I want you to go to Windows, Layers, click on it, and then this panel will pop up. The reason why I want you to see this layers panel is because Photoshop is a layer-based program. So anything that you do, you're going to usually do on some sort of layer. You're going to have an adjustment layer, uh, you know, some sort of adjustment layer, clear layer, something that you write on, whatever. It's all layers. You can work on your bottom layer, but you shouldn't. That is called destructive editing. And as you know, I am a big fan of non-destructive editing. So that is why when you open Photoshop, it has a little lock on your background image, because you should never really work on that. If you ever do want to work on that, you just create a copy of it. And there's a couple ways you can do that. You can hit Control J if you're on Windows, or Command J if you're on a Mac. Or you can just drag it to this plus layer right here. This is the new layer. You can also go to Layer, New Layer via Copy. Okay, so now we have our copy of our background layer. So if you ever do want to work on that image, you can do it on a copy, preserving your original image down there. But we're not going to do that, but I'm going to leave it here anyway. So as you see, I have all of these layers, and next to the layers there is an eyeball. This eyeball tells us if the layer is visible or not. Why are you laughing at me? As you can see, I have one layer here that is invisible, and that is a random Christmas tree, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But so you can see I have vignette, my snowflakes, the bokeh, the frost. And if you look at snowflake, you can see it's in like a folder, and you can even open up that folder and you'll see all those snowflakes. There's a lot of them in there. So I grouped them all together in a group in a folder. So I like to think about the layers in Photoshop kind of like a transparency. If you remember back in the day, maybe you don't. I know my son doesn't remember this. The teacher would stand in front of a class and she would have a projector. And on this projector, she would have a clear piece of plastic called a transparency. And she would take a marker, or he, I don't know why I'm saying she, a little sexist of me. The teacher would take a marker and they would write on this clear transparency, and it would project up onto the screen. I guess I'm thinking about a specific teacher. That's why. Anyway, so you can take.
Nobody cares.
I care. You can take multiple layers of these clear transparencies and pop them on top of each other, and you would be able to see all the way through the bottom. So that's how I like to think about a layer. Some layers can be opaque where you can't see through them, but they all start out clear until you make them opaque. You can see my background copy here is an opaque layer. If I put something between it, if I click this right here, I'm going to create a blank new transparency. And I'm going to make this one invisible just for a second by clicking the eyeball. I'm going to select my brush. I have a nice bright red right here selected. And I'm going to make my, I did the mixer brush. Sorry, I I moved my panel around. Okay, now I'm going to have a nice bright red, and I have a small brush. I'm going to write hello. Awesome. So now if I turn this on and off, you can see it is on its own transparent layer. But if I turn this background copy on above it, it's going to disappear because this is an opaque layer. Got it? Okay, so let's turn it off, and you can literally just grab a layer and move them to where you want it. So see how I drag that up? Now let's turn this off because I don't care about this, and let's turn our Christmas tree on. So now I have this Christmas tree, and I don't want the entire thing to show. I want to get rid of this ugly little stump down here because I'm going to stick it in some snow and make it look like a beautiful snow scene. So I want to get rid of that, but I don't want to erase. I don't want to use the eraser tool. You can if you think you're going to get rid of it permanently, but that is destructive editing. So because we are non-destructive editors, we are going to mask it away. So what is a mask? Okay, let's click on our Christmas tree layer, and we're going to create a mask. You can go down here and click this button right here with the little circle on it, and you can see a white square with a chain pop next to my little tree icon. This is my mask. Now you can have white masks or you can have black masks. A white mask shows everything. A black mask hides everything. Okay, so let's go back to our black mask. Now you're wondering how I was switching that back and forth. I was hitting Control-I or Command-I if you're on a Mac. But you can also right-click on it and hit Invert Mask. Wherever it is, it's somewhere in this list. But what we want to do is we just want to hide part of our image. So what would we do? We're going to color on our mask, not on our icon. See how it's selected here? With what color brush, Spencer?
Black.
A black brush, right, because black hides and white shows. So let's switch our color. You can switch the color. Whatever is on top is the color of your brush, okay? So if you ever remember how I had a red brush before, if you ever need to go back to the default, just click these two little squares right here and it will default you back. But the second you click on a mask, it will go to white and black because it knows you're only going to use white and black. See, when I click back to the icon, my red shows, but when I click to the mask, it goes back to black and white. So there's two ways you can toggle between the black and white. You can hit the X button, and that switches you between X and black and white, or you can just click this button right here, and that does that. So now we have a black brush. I'm going to make my brush a little bigger, and here I'm using the square brackets. So the right square bracket makes your brush bigger. The left square bracket makes it smaller. You can also go here and do your size that way. But the brackets are so easy. Now I am at 100% opacity and 100% flow. So that means it's going to totally wipe out anything that I brush over. Got that? Now, if you look at the mask, you can see where the black marks are. It's hidden my image. Okay, so I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go to Edit, Fill, and I'm going to fill it back with white. And it's going to set us back to where it goes. I just want to get rid of, and while I'm hitting the square bracket, this little stump down here. Beautiful. Now, I got too much here. I think I just did too much, right? And I want to bring some of that back. How do I bring it back, Spencer?
Use white.
I use a white brush, right? So I'm going to hit X.
How stupid you think you are?
Oh, he's 16. Come on. I hit X and I brought white and I colored it back. But look at now you can see the stump. So I'm going to go back to black. And this is why we use masking and not erasing, because you wouldn't be able to do this with erasing, with the eraser tool. So that's pretty cool. And now I can turn on all of these and look at my beautiful snow, or my beautiful tree. I'm going to create a new layer above the tree. Hit that little square. I'm going to go to white, toggle, and I'm just going to draw some beautiful snow in there. Oh, isn't that lovely, Spencer? And look, I could even reduce the opacity if I want some of that blue to show through. right? So there I'm reducing my opacity. And you can build it. So now I'm going to create another layer, and I'm going to put some snow there. And so you can build it and have as many layers as you want. Now, another thing that is useful are blending modes. So if you see right here, you see normal. We use blending modes a lot with our actions. So you might see Tiffany change her blending mode in one of her videos. So you can use soft light, you can change and play with your blending modes and see which blending mode you like the best. Every blending mode section has a specific purpose, and it does something specific. So if you ever are interested, you can read more about blending modes and what they do. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I know it's basic. There's so much more you can learn about Photoshop, but hopefully this is a good start for you. Please ask any questions you have about Photoshop. Come to our Facebook group, ask questions. We are always happy to help. Thanks. Say bye, Spencer.
No.